Right now.
Get off the stream, PC Boone.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Refresh this browser first.
Which channel did you
Marathon's
watch?
canceled.
Let's get out of here. I'm gonna get out of here.
Goodbye.
All right. Live on. So first things here, I'm just gonna skip this intro and be really lucky that I didn't soft lock. And then we can go back into our file that I just created. And we skipped a little tutorial where he tells you to look up and look down.
Damali.
That's my name.
Wait. You might be good. It might have just been dead for like the first 15 seconds. Can't tell if
E.
it fixed.
Alright, well I'm gonna make my way here into the first level. The item I just grabbed gave me a rank up. I need to be rank 20 by the end of the run. Well, by the middle of the run, really. So those items right there give you a free rank, so they're really valuable. The other ways we get ranks is through these figments. Collect 100 value of figments, get 1 rank. And there's also scavenger hunt items in the overworld, which we'll be collecting later. But right now we don't know any psychic powers or anything. We just have Raz's normal circus gymnast movement abilities. We can flip, we can double jump, whatnot. Make our way through the basic braining obstacle course here. Take the super secret path underneath it no one knows about. So yeah, saying since AGDQ last year, this game has gotten about 12 minutes faster. I had like a 46-minute time then. I have a 34-minute time now. And we used to have to do every single level in the game. We can skip the final 3 levels now, as well as skip buying any items from the shop and collecting any currency at all. The only items we need to collect are the ones that will contribute to getting our rank up. Because there's a few abilities that I'm going to learn through just doing the story, and then there's a few abilities that you have to learn through getting rank ups. At level 10, 20, and 30 you get new abilities, but we can actually skip to level 31, doing a few little tricks. This game, to punch 20 of these bad guys. These first 15 will just spawn anywhere, and then the last 5, they spawn faster. They only spawn in the middle, but it has a chance of spawning a baby. So if you have any babies, you have to just punch them in the face to get rid of them faster. There we go. You can get no babies, you can get as many as like 6 or 7 babies. Alright. Timed that wrong, but I can back it up here, I think. Not quite. Alright, so this is the first palm bomb. I don't know why I double jumped setting this up. So take damage. Not getting the speed there. This one's pretty tight because you have to take the damage here and then get this speed boost off before you lose your iframes. But that's the first palm bomb boost we do. So momentum is like super important to like every jump you're gonna do in this game. Ah. But the way this game treats like your jumps, you kind of jump outward from ledges rather than just jumping straight up. So I'll see that later when I get the levitation ball, that I'll always be trying to jump on like downward slopes so you get forward momentum as well. But this works by jumping and ground pounding. I didn't want to double jump there. Jumping and ground pounding, and then you jump out of your ground pound, so you get a whole bunch of downward momentum, and then if you jump immediately, it transfers that out to horizontal momentum. So there we just skipped a whole big platforming section. There's Bobby. He does a real good job of blocking you. Alright. And then this is like the first kind of auto-scroller you're supposed to do, but normally you have to wait on these logs for a while and crisscross back and forth between the room. If you're quick enough, you can jump over to that one, and you can stand on that log while it's basically vertical for some reason. And here is the end of basic braining. And there's a ton of cutscenes and a ton of dialogue in this game casually, but 99% of it is skippable. So there I jumped over the head of those two girls. Normally they charge you an arrowhead to go past them, but we can just jump over the top. Alright, here we save in the loading zone, and then load that save. And now we're at the lake. Still don't need any arrowheads. So what happened there? Each of these transitions between zones has like a fade to black part. If you pause and save during that fade to black, when you load that save, it'll put you on like a corrupted version of the map. It'll load the map in some weird state, or load you in some weird area. Doing it off the lodge map, which I did there, loads you underneath the map somewhere, and you immediately fall into the lake loading zone. So it cuts out a little bit of travel time. I'm going to be using that trick twice more later in the run. And both of those are really big skips. This one right here only saved me like 3 seconds if you do it right.
Sasha, I'm going inside.
Alright, so we're going to collect a lot of figments in this level. You see each one I collect in the upper right is actually going to be worth quite a bit. Each figment can be worth like anywhere between 1 and 9. A lot of the ones in the Brain Tumbler, that level, are worth 9. So we want to collect them there versus collecting low value ones. So that was the first time we entered the Brain Tumbler. We're going to have to enter that level 3 times. It's kind of you go there and you get kicked out, and then you have to go, now I have to go learn this move, and then I'm going to go back and I'll get kicked out and I'll have to go learn another move. So right now we know we have the training badge for marksmanship, so we can shoot stuff, but only in this mine until we complete it, and then we can shoot stuff everywhere. Yeah, I'm going to be skipping Cobweb Duster. We don't need any arrowheads, we don't need to buy any items. And I believe all of the LSD, the saving and loading glitches do work on consoles, if I remember correctly. So we still don't have levitation ball, So our movement's fairly basic, but we can abuse a lot of the gravity in this level. Alright. Sometimes when you walk over the ledges of this cube, instead of just walking over and switching the gravity, Raz will treat it like he's falling off an edge, which has just happened there. And so, yeah, sometimes this boss will just forget that you exist and start walking around. Alright, so now that we know how to shoot things, we can play the second part of this level. And then we're gonna get kicked back out because we don't know levitation. Alright, I missed a couple, so I'm gonna grab that. Oh, one of these for safety. Ah, that one's kind of hard, but at least I didn't land too far in the bush. That bush can kind of stun lock you if you land on top of it. Yeah, so this level's fairly horizontal. You can do palm bombs here and there off of slopes to try to get through it a little bit quicker. There's a few ways to make it the final LSD a little bit easier.
Don't worry, Dogen. I'm coming up there to save
I find the best way, if you turn on VSync
no time to
and
explain,
limit
Sasha.
your FPS to 60,
Thorn Tower.
that, oh my god, that it becomes a lot easier since it is based on frame rate, or it is based on pausing on a certain frame, so less frames makes it easier. Which is to say, there's a lot of things in this game that work based on frame rate. So you want a fairly high frame rate to make the game busted enough, because it's originally a console game ported to PC, and there's a few glitches that work because the PC can have higher frame rate and the game wasn't intended for that. So you need a high frame rate to do some glitches, but if you have too high of a frame rate, then things start messing up way too much. It's this weird balance. And then at the end of the game, yeah, you won't. It's really hard to get that without capping your frame rate back down. So now we have Levitation Ball, and we can do lots more momentum tricks. We can do this, which does not work on console because it's frame rate based, but if you get the ball out and you move it above your head and below your feet, back and forth as much as you can, you'll gain height from the animations faster than you lose height from the gravity. So that's what we do here. We're going to be using that quite a bit. And then as soon as we get to a big section here, where you think Levitation Ball is the fastest form of movement, it no longer is. When we have these big flat straightaways and downhill slopes, we can just bunny hop. Which is always a good mechanic in a speed game, I think. Ooh. Ah. Yeah, so if you just jump right when you hit the ground, you'll keep up your speed and plus gain a little bit, but for every little bit that you're on the ground, Res starts running and you'll lose speed. So mash as fast as you can. If you double jump, you lose speed from that animation. I'm gonna use it to gain a little more height here. And you really can't turn at all while you're bunny hopping. And you kind of have to rely on a combination of both moving your character and moving the camera together to get little sharper turns. Alright, here again, you're supposed to float up these. I'm just gonna fly to the top one and then float. So now that we complete this mine, we can use levitation everywhere, and pretty much always going to be using levitation for every bit of movement from here on out. Alright, and now this is the first like overworld section. So I'm ranked 9.5-ish now, which is pretty far away from 20, so we're gonna farm some ranks. Get one there. Here's our scavenger hunt items. So there's 16 of them. You get 4 ranks for getting 8 of them and another 4 for getting all. But to get all of them, you actually need all of the powers. So we're only going to get the half of them that are quick and easy, as well as a few more of these free ranks. Yeah, so this is the main, just big overworld section. Just go between these zones and grab all of the easy stuff. Which I really like this section actually, because I don't know, a lot of the levels themselves are fairly small and cramped. And this section is all about movement, and it's more open, it feels like. Right into the sign. Alright, so we got our 8 scavenger hunt items. Talk to that guy, he gives us 4 free ranks. Grab that for a 5th. Now we're ready to go back into the brain tumbler for the final time, now that we know enough moves to actually beat it. Thankfully this time we get to spawn right here at the end. And instead of climbing the tower normally, we can just fly right up to the loading zone that we need to go to. And this loading zone actually doesn't exist until the mine is in this state, which means you do need to visit this mine 3 times. Watching TV. Bullying their mind? No, we're unlocking their minds. Solving their inner demons. Alright, here's a really tough boss fight. Lots to do. There's no real good way to speed this up. But just kind of go around here. Make sure you have enough ammo. These pillars drop either ammo or health. So as long as there's nothing to do, we can get a few ammo drops. Yeah, so he'll shoot you twice each time before he's vulnerable. Health really means nothing. I can take a lot of hits if I feel like it. He really doesn't do much damage. Alright, in this final hit, I'm going to try to keep him on this hill right here. And when he tips over, he's going to fall to the right. So I want him to fall up the hill. He's not looking at me. Ugh. Alright. So when he goes to the second phase, I kind of want him to be looking into a hill here. Okay, because this hit, when he flies away, there we go. See, he only flew like 10 feet away that, or like 2 feet away that first time. Alright, then you gotta chase him down the next time still. Alright, so now we're into like the second half of the game. And you see when you go back out here to the outside that everything's nighttime. There's big monster footprints here. So we're gonna figure out whose footprints those are. AKA the worst thing in speedrunning. Alright, ring the bell and summon giant lungfish. So I need to hit 3 nail boxes. There's 2 guaranteed spawns here, and I have to hope for a 3rd spawn before she starts or stops inhaling here. Stops sucking. Alright, good. Not great, but I still got a 1 cycle. So I'm gonna have to do that fight again. On this one, you're guaranteed 2 boxes, and you have to hope to get a 3rd one somewhere. On this next fight, she spits out 7 items, and I have to hope I get boxes. It's completely random. You can get like 5 boxes, you could get 0. If you don't get a 1 cycle, it loses about 25 seconds. Hey, Fnatic. So this is like the real RNG make or break point of the run, as well as being an auto-scroller, so no, definitely not the most attractive thing about a speedrun is an RNG auto-scroller. But if we put up with this, beat this, we get back into actual gameplay. Then we're only a few minutes from the Milkman level, which is most people's favorite. Alright, so after the top of the stairs here is going to be the second fight. So I have to hope that I don't lose 25 seconds. Well, there's not a whole lot to do. I like running over those little white coral things because they make a cool sound. You can also farm ammo or health here with all the enemies that drop from the sky, but I don't need any of that. Alright, 1, we're good. Come on, 2. Alright, this is good. Give me a 3rd one, please. There, alright. We got a 1 cycle. Yeah, so that was pretty good. And those were actually fairly close to each other too. A lot of times, like she'll spit one super far back and one super close, and sometimes the things she spits out, they spin while they're in the air, but they actually spin until they hit the ground. So if they land on top of something, they will just continuously spin. It's kind of fun to see sometimes. There's also the hands here in the wall. So Raz's family is cursed. I think he can't go in the water, so these hands will reach out and grab him if he gets too close. So before we discovered the LSD glitch, we had to get 800 arrowheads to buy the buy the cobweb duster. I have 0 arrowheads right now, so normally what you do is just farm 50 of them, and then in this auto-scroller section there's a few underwater caches, they call them, that have hundreds of arrowheads at a time. But I don't need to do any of that right now. All I need to do is wait for the auto-scroller. Yeah, so there's used to be 3 unskippable cobwebs that we need the duster for. We learned how to skip Gloria's mind, which meant there's only 2, and they were in a tunnel, and they covered the entire tunnel, and we couldn't get past them. But found a way to get past that tunnel, which you'll see later in the run. But that meant no more cobweb duster, no more arrowheads, no more dowsing rod. Alright, Linda's dead. We get out the door and enter her mind. Alright, so I just picked up the shield power there. Ah, targeting things is really weird. So we can't use the levitation ball in this level. So we have to target and flip. But there's lots of enemies that like to make you target them. You usually don't want to go towards the enemies. Yeah, it looks like I dropped a few frames there. Looks like everything's back to normal. Alright. It's gonna shield because that giant turret will deal at least half your health and damage if it hits you. Alright, so under the dam there's shallow water. Up here there's deep water, so we can... It catches you once, and it gives you a speed boost to get back to land. And then once you get back to land, it never takes that speed boost away, so we can keep that throughout the rest of the level here. And there we take hits 2 and 3 from the water to do a little death warp up here to the next island. Alright, I'm gonna mash B here and actually not spawn any of the planes you're supposed to... You have to kill the planes to spawn ships to cross this water, but we can not spawn the planes and then just skip across here. And that allows us to get all 3 hits instead of having to reflect 3 lasers. Then I'm gonna put them next to the wall here. Punch twice. Alright, and then as he kicks me, I'm just gonna beat the hell out of him here. Normally he would shield and go back into the air, but by only punching him twice and then letting him start an attack, you can just combo it and he won't go into his other phases. Yeah, my internet is really weird. It'll be really awesome 90% of the time, and then there'll be just complete crap for a few seconds, a few minutes. Alright, into Milkman. I'm a few figments short, but there's plenty right here. I only need 16 figments to get to the next rank. So here's clairvoyance. It allows you to see yourself through other people's eyes, and that's the only time I'm going to use it, is to get out of that house. Alright, so this level's super gravity, crazy, twisty-turvy, and it allows us to actually just jump from that section straight over to this section here. And then instead of doing the item fetch quest back and forth thing, we can get under the sewers here and jump up into the loading zone. Skip the entire first half of the level. And then, I'm not going to forget the bacon, whoops. Now that we're here and we're rank 20, we have to go learn the rest of the moves. So the 2 other moves we're going to need to beat the game are Pyrokinesis here. Alright, shoot him in the face to skip his dialogue. Alright, so we learned Pyro and learned Telekinesis. These are the last 2 things we need to beat the game. Ooh. Alright. Enough practicing. So, since I exited the level just after that loading zone,
Yes.
I'm ready, and then it puts me back over here for some reason. Alright. Ready to go back in the field, and it'll put me right here next to that loading zone where I left. Fly up, and we can skip the rest of this level by just flying to this telephone wire instead of having to get the gun and go across and get the helicopter and get the phone and all that crazy stuff. We can just go straight to the boss here. I guess there's one more thing we gotta do before the boss. Normally you would need invisibility to sneak into this house, but we're gonna do it by another method. So, knock on the door. I'm gonna hide completely out of sight. No one can see me. Little girl answers the door and bam. Shoot her in the face, and now we can get in. Alright, so normally you do this third hit and she goes into the second phase. But if I hit her and then grab her with telekinesis really quick, she won't turn the lights out. It'll stay light in here and she'll just keep jumping back and forth. What? Ah. When she lands, she's still invulnerable for like a half a second. Alright. Here is the second time we used LSD, and this one is the biggest skip in the game. So I'm going to enter this loading zone, pause, save, load that save I just made, and it'll put me back on this map, but on a really weird version of it. Where the sky is red, and the game has everything open. It doesn't check if you've done anything. So that elevator there normally isn't open until you reach the top section. But it's already open, so we can go straight to the top of the tower here. Hang out with Pokelope. So that skipped 3 more levels of this game. Unfortunately, some of the 3 cool levels, but that's how it is. So give her Pokelope, throw the brain in here, and on to the next boss. That's not what I clicked. Hello? Ugh, equips. Menu in this game can be kind of a pain sometimes. Alright, so it's this boss, and then we're on to the final level. And this boss can be a real pain sometimes, depending on which rocks he picks up to throw at you. Yeah, so you just gotta basically throw these outside rocks at the rock, burn the planks, and then make a hole. Yeah, too bad Pokelope's only in this game for like 5 seconds. At least we get to watch the cutscene of him walking. Because that cutscene... whatever. Should still work. Nope, never mind. The cutscene of him walking across his little pen isn't actually like a cutscene. It's just a forced camera angle, so you don't lose any time by watching it. Alright, into the brain tank. Your Raz's circus mind, Coach Oleander's butcher mind merge together. We get really awful, interesting meat circus. Alright. I'm gonna do a little safety thing here. Turn on VSync. Check out my really weird resolution that this game runs at. Alright. Not the bacon. What am I doing?
Nothing.
Alright, so we have to use the smelling salts. Say, I'm ready to leave the level. And as the game fades to black, I want to do this as late as possible. As the game fades to black, we have to try to pause on the last frame before it pauses. This trick is really stupid. Alright, I'll be a little bit safer this time. And then we save. And I'm just going to kind of buffer this save. Try to get as late as possible. See if that one worked. Could have. Alright, it's good. So we spawn in this really weird version of Meat Circus where the skybox just like doesn't exist. So it'll just warp all these textures that touch the skybox. That wasn't very good. Alright, I wanted to do this cool momentum thing. There we go. So normally you just fly across. If you do that, it's about the same time, but it looks way cooler. Alright, so now back into the final like gauntlet of the game. Should probably have shield. Just gonna fight 3 bosses and do one fairly significant platforming section. Yeah, so this guy just basically bait out his overhand attack, and then you have to jump up on his shoulder and punch him in the face. Which, as a casual, like, first time you play this game, getting onto his shoulder to punch him in the face is way harder than it looks. As he's very slippery boy. If you just jump, cancel your ball, you need to punch him in the face pretty quick. Now I try to kind of keep like a mid-range here for him. It seems to make him attack faster normally. It might just all be in my head, I don't know. It feels like it's faster, so I do it. Alright, here's the platforming section. So this whole time the water is coming from the bottom, and we can't touch the water or we lose. See, here, we jump, ground pound, grab that, and this happens. And the camera's freaking out, we're flying back and forth. Game doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on for sure. But here at the end, get that camera angle. Oh, there's Raz, and there's Raz, and we're at the top. So for some reason, if you grab that wire before your dad does, the two of you get like lodged together and fly up to the top. It's the weirdest thing ever. I don't know. Time's coming up in about 30-40 seconds. Yeah, if I get a 2 cycle, that wasn't too great there. Should still be able to get 2 cycle. If I can get some double hits here. If you kind of stand in this front part of him where his foot is, and you angle your punches right, you can get like 2 hits per punch instead of 1, so yeah, you can hear it when it happens. Yeah, not quite enough, so it's gonna be... Alright. Got like 2 more hits left, but I have to wait until I get big again. There's also a weird glitch here where sometimes when you punch them, the lighting effects will go all weird and the game will get really dark. And sometimes when it's really dark, if you do it again, the game will get light again. Alright, here we go. 1 punch. 2, 3, he's dead. There we go. Time. I didn't get the lights out glitch, unfortunately.
You had a 38-48.
Alright.
That was a good run.
Yeah. Had some weird things in the beginning before it got going, but otherwise it was fairly solid, I think.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to say or plug or?
Thanks for having me. I don't know, it's kind of cool to show off. Like I said, this run hadn't been done in a marathon, so it's cool to show off everybody the new glitches and stuff, and all the changes.
Yeah, for sure.